All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another exciting session on the YP-LEF. We are quite few in number, so we're just going to do a little exercise. I need us to go out and reach people who we think should be here so that they can join us on this very important session. This is the second YP-LEF session for the year, and would want everyone to join us because this is very, very important. This is another aspect of the YP-LEF that does not just professional development. We also look at the holistic growth of a young professional, in fact, of a human being. Welcome, everyone, to the second YP-LEF session of the year. It is my delight to have you here, but I need us to do something very quick. I need us to go out and get more people rather, into the room tonight. Eating for a healthy heart. And we already have, yes, I see so many of us joining already. Thank you for joining us. It is nice to have you here. Um, we will begin right about now. Welcome everybody to the second YP-LEF session of the year. Like I said earlier, very important topic for tonight, eating for a healthy heart. And I can see our facilitator in the room. But before we begin properly, we'd like to start with an opening prayer. I would like someone to unmute and give us an opening prayer. Let me see who I can call. Okay. Bro Moses, please, can you give us an opening prayer?
We thank you, dear Lord, for another opportunity to gather here for edification, empowerment, enlightenment, and emancipation by the power of the word, by the power of right knowledge. We ask, Lord, that all of this will be done in us again tonight in Jesus' name. We commit the facilitator, the moderator, and everyone to be a channel of blessing to us tonight, that you will use them mightily. Be in charge even as we proceed. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And welcome once again, everybody, to another exciting session of the YP-LEF. The YP-LEF is also known as the Young Professional Life Enlightenment Forum, which happens bi-weekly. And today is another session. We had a very important and very agenda setting, if I may say, for the year. Last the last session that was 2 weeks ago, and today we're starting again. This is the start of the new year 2026, and we want to start right. So we have brought you we have a lineup of exciting topics that are also important to the development of the young professional. Now, today's topic is eating for a healthy heart. And before we continue, I want us to do a quick brief exercise as well. We want to know where you are joining us from. So if you just take a moment to share in the chat room where you are joining from, and then we'll get to know you. My name is Rosemary, and I'll be your host for tonight. We also have our facilitator joining us tonight. She's been here from the beginning. So a quick one. Please just go to the chat room. We want to know where you're coming from. So just say your name. My name is Rosemary, and I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. So I'd want to also know where you are joining us from. Today, we have eating for a healthy heart. Very important. And before I would bring up our facilitator tonight, let me just go through her profile. Our facilitator is from our sister country, so to say. She is all coming all or joining us all the way from Ghana. Our facilitator for tonight is Peace Kunkpe. So Peace Kunkpe is a seasoned nutritionist and wellness coach with over 7 years of experience in helping individuals achieve optimal health through practical and realistic nutrition. As the founder of the Nutrition Clinic Ghana, Peace works with a diverse range of clients, from individuals to communities and organizations, to prevent and manage diet-related conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, and hormonal imbalances. With a passion for empowering people to take control of their well-being, Peace's approach is centered on making informed, sustainable choices that fit real African lifestyles. Through her engaging talks, she simplifies nutrition science, challenges common health myths, and inspires audiences to make healthier decisions. So what sets Pizza apart? Well, that's her warm, relatable, and non-judgmental approach, which leaves her clients feeling informed, confident, and motivated to make lasting changes. With her guidance, individuals can expect to develop a healthier relationship with food and their bodies, one small, consistent step at a time. It is awesome, and it is our pleasure and delight to have you here tonight, Miss Peace. Um, are you there? Hello, Peace, can you hear us?
It's not on the call.
Oh, I did see her for a moment there. Okay. Yeah, I think she left. All right, let's hope that she joins us again. Definitely would join us. So, eating for a healthy heart. Yes, I see where people are joining us from. When it's nice to have you. Yes, I used to start from England. Nice to have you. Cross country, um, connections. Yes. Thank you, Godwin Ogili from Lokoja, Nigeria. Awesome to have you. How's Lokoja today? Royal Ebuka joining from Anambra. Awesome, awesome. Nice to have you. Oluwasegun from Benue State. Thank you for joining. Regina from Lagos, Nigeria. Yes, welcome, welcome. Emeka from Ijede, that's IKD. We are happy to have you here. Moses is joining from Lagos. Clement is from Borno, Nigeria. And Olulade from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you. Eating for a healthy heart. Well, okay, Peace is back right now. Peace, can you hear us? If you can, I would like you to unmute. So, yes, awesome.
Hi, everyone. Good evening to you all. I can hear you now.
All right.
Apologies, my network has been terrible, but I hope it's better now.
Okay. We are sister countries. We can totally relate. Welcome on board, Pierce from Ghana. We just read out your profile and see all the amazing things that you have been doing, and also with Nutrition Ghana, Clinic Ghana, which I can very well relate with and relate to. Welcome on board. We have on the topic for tonight, eating for a healthy heart, and we know that you're going to carry us through this interesting topic. So the floor is all yours now, Peace. You can take it from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Chika. I would share my screen and then
Awesome.
begin.
All right. So while Peace is doing that, Peace, we have people joining us from um basically Nigeria. Well, different parts of Nigeria. We have from the southwest. We have from the north as well, and of course southeast. We also have people from um outside of Nigeria joining us, as well as you joining us from outside of Nigeria. And we have on the topic tonight, eating for a healthy heart. I'm sure as young professionals, sometimes we do not eat for a healthy heart, so to say. We eat for survival, especially if you're living in fast-paced communities and societies like Lagos and perhaps Accra, Ghana, and some other, mayhaps London. I don't know. I'm just trying to reach out. Yeah. Okay. So yes, is sharing her screen. And then we have Eating for a Healthy Heart by Peace Kumpi. I hope I got that correct.
Yes, you got that right. Please, can my screen be seen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, and I believe I'm audible as well.
Crystal clear.
All right. So, good evening, everyone. And I trust that we are all doing very well today. I'm humbled to be a part of today's session. And I'm so grateful to the management and the team at YP-LEF for the opportunity to share something critical to our long-term health. And so, as mentioned, I am Peace Kumpe, a registered nutritionist with the Allied Health Professional Council of Ghana, and I'm also the founder of the Nutrition Clinic, GH, where we help people and support them to achieve their weight goals as well as their health goals through evidence-based nutrition strategies. And so, yes, you are in February. February is the month of love, and that's so warm, right? But beyond that, February is also a month dedicated to raising awareness on heart health. And that is why we are considering this topic, eating for a healthy heart. And we'll be focusing on hypertension, and hypertension because hypertension is a primary cause of many heart diseases or heart conditions. So, without further ado, let me get into it. So, I'll be taking you through a journey of getting to know what the silent alarm in the heart is, and we'll define the enemy we are looking at today. We'll get to know how food impacts on our heart health, and then some nutrition strategies to help, you know, manage, prevent this condition we are talking about. And then beyond nutrition, beyond what we eat, what can we do to also keep our heart healthy? We'll be looking at that, some practical survival tips for people who want to live healthy. And then we'll look at shopping healthy and then the longevity blueprint. So I'll plead with you to stay with me and let's go on this journey together. And I know that by the end of this session, we would all be well equipped with practical strategies to, keep our hearts younger and stronger for the long term. Okay, so before I actually dive into the session, I would like for us to take a moment to reflect on this note that I have here. It says, "Dear young professional, your health is the foundation for everything else. Is the foundation for your dreams, your purpose, and even your ability to give back. We are in an age where we we have a lot of young people who are driven to give back, to impact on society. But if you don't have your health, all of this would not matter." And I recall that this morning I saw a post by someone who is not a health worker, and the post says that success means nothing if you don't have your health to carry you further. Okay, so all that you've achieved, your career, your certificate, the courses you are pursuing, your passion, and all of that, none of that will matter if you don't have your health. When you lose your health, all that will matter to you is to get it back so that you can continue the run. But in that moment, all you want back is your health. Okay, so now let's consider what the silent alarm is and why you should or you must be concerned. According to a report by WHO in 2024, it says that globally, 1 in 3 adults are hypertensive. And when I did the research, this figure trickles down to Africa and to Nigeria as well. So you would say that 1 in 3 adults in Africa is hypertensive, and when you take 3 Nigerian adults, one will be hypertensive. And I would like us to appreciate that these are not just figures or numbers or data or statistics. Okay, these are people's realities. Okay, people are actually dealing with this condition. And so it is important that we guard against this. And it is even more concerning when you look at the pie chart below, showing the awareness level of this condition. So let's say if 100 people are actually having the condition, only 56 of them are aware. Almost half of the number do not know they have this condition. And that's why we say hypertension is largely asymptomatic. It's largely asymptomatic, meaning that a lot of people do not show the signs and symptoms of having the condition. And so they walk about thinking all is well, but you hear that, oh, this person just collapsed and has passed, or this person had a heart attack and all of that. And it's surprising because you thought, oh, this person has always been fine. So it is something that should be a wake-up call to us so that we always check and monitor ourselves. The Bible says that, oh man, know thyself. We shouldn't be unaware of what's going on inside of us. Okay. And then, even though it is a silent killer, it doesn't show signs and symptoms in a lot of people. Once the condition is present within you, it destroys the body internally. It's like a silent process that is happening. Okay. And this happens over time, and then it progresses, and you realize that it comes with some complications. So it leads to vision loss, it leads to brain stroke, it leads to blood vessel damage and heart attack, which is the common one. Another reason why this condition is more concerning is that when you look at the graph to your right, you find that there is an increasing prevalence of hypertension globally. Okay. And it is more disturbing for us young ones because the prevalence is not only among the elderly. Some years ago we would say, oh, hypertension is a disease that is being diagnosed amongst the elderly. Now we have teenagers, now we have people in their youthful age being diagnosed of this disease. And it is now the number one risk factor for death globally. When you do the research, you find that the highest cause of death is related to hypertension, heart diseases. So these are reasons why it is of concern. So now let's get to understand what hypertension really is. So we all appreciate that to push anything, you need some force or energy. If you have a cup of water, you want to push it, you need some energy, some pressure needs to be applied. Okay, so to move blood, which is the life of the body, through the body from the heart to other parts of the body, we definitely need some amount of pressure. With no pressure at all, blood will not flow and our organs will not be functioning. So yes, we need some pressure from our hearts to push blood. But hypertension is a condition where the pressure that is pushing the blood is higher than normal, and that's why you call it high blood pressure. I think that is a quite simple way of explaining it. So blood flows from the heart through the arteries. So the arteries serve as pipes. Okay, they serve as pipes through which blood flows. When you have a water pump that is pushing water at higher pressure through a thin hole, you realize that there's something going to happen, something wrong is going to happen with that pipe sooner or later, because the pressure is more than what it can take. And so hypertension damages the arteries over time, and this leads to other complications I mentioned earlier. So the normal or the average level of blood pressure, it should be 120/80. So 120 is the systolic. The systolic is the number at the top, and the diastolic is the number at the bottom. The systolic is the pressure that is recorded when the heart pumps blood, okay, when it pushes blood. And then the diastolic is the pressure when the heart rests or contracts. Okay, so when it is 130, we can say the person is pre-hypertensive. And if it is over 140, then we know for sure that this person is hypertensive. And these checks must be done more than once to confirm that the person really has it, because as we go about our daily activities, for somebody who has just finished running, the pressure is expected to be higher. And so we can conclude that one is hypertensive upon several checks and when the person is at rest. Okay. So what makes a heart at risk of this condition? When it comes to the risk factors for hypertension, we have some factors that we cannot change, and we have some factors that we can control. So some of the factors we cannot change, let me start with that, include age. So for age, the older we get, the higher our risks of the condition. And that is why we used to say that it is for the elderly. But unfortunately now, because lifestyle is more significant than the age factor, young people are having this condition. We also have family history and genetics. I mean, you can't change your parents, you can't change your grandmother. You already have them. And so if they had it, you have a risk of having the condition. Race is also a factor that we cannot change. We of African descent, research has shown that we are at a higher risk of this condition. And then sex is also another risk factor. The males are known, or research has shown that men have really higher blood pressure readings than females. So the good news is that even though we say these are risk factors, age is a risk factor, family, race, and sex are risk factors. The fact that you have one or more risk factors, say you are a man who is getting older, I mean, we all grow, right? You are a man who is getting older, an African, and you have a family history, it does not mean that you would end up having the condition, okay? Having a risk factor does not mean you end up having a condition. The good news here is that your lifestyle plays a more significant role in you getting this condition, or I mean in preventing this condition, or in the progress of this condition. So your lifestyle really counts, and that's why. So lifestyle is the modifiable factor here, is the factor that we can control, is the factor that we can change. And thankfully, it is the factor that is most significant. Okay, so what puts a young professional at risk? I mean, the stress of work, commuting daily from home to work, and the pressure, the deadlines, and all of that. I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but when you are frightened, when you're anxious, when you're under stress, your blood pressure also goes up. So even beyond what you eat, some of these other factors can impact on your blood pressure. And then when we are in traffic, we tend to go for the processed foods, the sugary snacks, fast food, small chops, and all of that. That also plays a role, because we tend to do that daily and consistently. So it's something we should watch against. And then consumption of processed food, sedentary lifestyle. Lately, we have people being too busy. There's so much to do. We have little or no time to exercise, to move ourselves. And then we have insufficient sleep. We wake up very early, sleep late. Some people consume alcohol, and they also smoke as well, and that puts them at a greater risk. And of course, sodium, excessive intake of salt, is also another reason why people experience or have hypertension. So I mentioned earlier that yes, a lot of people do not show signs for of having hypertension when they actually have it, but some people do. And when it shows up in the form of headaches, in the form of nosebleeds, dizziness, loss of vision or vision issues, chest pain, and the rest, as you can see on the screen. So what I would say here is that once you start experiencing any of this, kindly do the check. Okay, it is important to do the check routinely so that you are always up to date with your current status. And then now I want to look at more complications that come as a result of these conditions. So kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, a lot of chronic kidney disease cases are highly related or are related to hypertension. Most of the cases that have been reported, you see that they had hypertension that led to chronic kidney disease, sexual dysfunction, we have artery issues, loss of vision, as mentioned earlier, and all of that. So I am not saying all of this, I'm not showing you all of this to scare you. I am doing this to make you aware, just to make you aware of the long-term complications. And all of this is to empower you so that you can make the right choices for yourself and keep your heart younger and stronger for the long term. So now let's get to the main gist for the night. Okay, the food part. We are done with the medical and all of that. Allow me introduce to you the SSS culprit of hypertension. What is really driving hypertension now? So the first S is sodium,
Now
and
let's talk about
sodium we consume it in the form of salt.
what does Laurie think? What does Lucy think?
Hi, can I be heard?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay, so sodium, we consume sodium in the form of salts, the seasoning cubes, and then sodium is also hidden in some processed foods, okay? And some of them we do not know, and we consume them a lot. So processed food like the canned beefs, any canned food has a lot of salt because salt is in there to preserve it for a longer period. So let's watch against this. So how does sodium actually drive hypertension, you may ask? So what it does is that salt in the body holds on to more water. For every extra salt you take, or for every amount of salt you take, that salt holds on to water in the body. Okay, so more water in the body means that a higher blood volume. Okay, and you know, as I said earlier, that to push a cup you need to apply some force, but to push a bucket you apply more force. So the more salt, the more water volume, the more blood volume, and then the more pressure is needed from the heart to push, okay, the blood. And this is how, or this is one way which sodium causes hypertension. It causes the heart to apply more pressure beyond what is needed. Yes. So that is one way sodium is causing hypertension. And now let's look at the second S, saturated fats. Okay, saturated fats are literally the bad fats. When you do lipid profile, you find that you have good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. Saturated fats are the reasons why we have high bad cholesterol. And where do we find these? We find these in the fried foods, the canned foods as well. We have the fast foods and anything that has oils that is not healthy. Okay, so I would encourage us to buy. We have mono unsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats. When you check the labeling, these mono and polyunsaturated fats are the good guys. Okay, the unsaturated fats are the good guys, and on the labelings, the good product should have these unsaturated fats being almost 100% on the labelings. When you see that, when you see 93, 96 polyunsaturated fat, that is good. And then good oil should have a lower amount of saturated fat. So oils that are good for Our hearts include olive oil, canola oil. For palm oil, it has both unsaturated and saturated. So it just means that we have to consume less of that. But even for the good oils, because of the calories, we still need to control the volume or the amount that we consume. And now let's look at the last S, which is simple sugar. I am very well aware that a lot of us know that, yes, when it comes to hypertension, we have to reduce our salt intake. When it comes to hypertension, we have to reduce the fat, because you know that it has some connection with fat. But a lot of us do not know that sugar also drives hypertension. When it comes to hypertension, sugar is also a culprit. And how does that happen? When you have high blood sugar, the blood is more viscous, it gets thicker, okay? And then it is more difficult to push or to cause a more viscous liquid to flow, right? And so the heart definitely does a lot more work when you have high blood sugar. Also, excess sugar is stored as fat in the body, and this fat, like in the previous slide, you see that the fat blood is supposed to flow through. Okay, that's what excess sugar is converted into. Obesity is also a risk factor for hypertension. So all of that causes high blood pressure. And then the presence of the hormone insulin in the blood. When insulin is at a high level in the blood, above normal, it then also causes high blood pressure. So now I've said a lot about, okay, do not do this, do not take sugar, do not take salt. Okay, we've all looked at that. Now let's look at what we should do. So we are on the slide that says nutrition strategies to prevent and manage hypertension. Okay, so when it comes to preventing or managing hypertension, there is a specific diet that has been developed, specific, the DASH diet. And I would explain that. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. So that's a dietary pattern that has been developed. This is not a fad diet. This is a diet that is backed by evidence. Okay. And the DASH diet entails or emphasizes the consumption of fruits. So fruits like oranges, coconut, bananas, pear, and what have you. And then it also emphasizes the consumption of vegetables. Okay, so depending on where you are, ugu, efo, ewedu, oha, water leaf, bitter leaf, consomme, your vegetables, green vegetables, it emphasizes those foods. And then it emphasizes the consumption of healthy fats. So I mentioned olive oil earlier, fatty fishes like your mackerel, your tilapias. These are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for our heart. And so we are encouraged healthy foods. We also see that there is a Mediterranean diet. This is a diet that was also developed for people who lived around the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and similar to the DASH diet. The only difference is that the DASH diet emphasizes less sodium because it is targeted to prevent or stop hypertension. But in the Mediterranean diet, you also have recommendations like eating more fruits, more whole foods. So foods that are high in fiber, like beans, your lentils, wheat, brown rice, and what have you. So foods that have more fiber, vegetables and fruits. So instead of blending your fruits all the time, take them whole, take your vegetables whole. These days we have people blending vegetables. Please, let's take them whole so that we can tap the benefits of the fiber in them. And then another strategy in fighting or preventing hypertension is to reduce sodium drastically. So take for instance, this one being very basic here. You have your rice and you have your stew. If you are someone who is actually trying to manage hypertension, I would encourage that you do not need to add salt to your rice, because at the end of the day, it is the stew that really gives the food um the savory taste that we want. You are not really getting the taste from the rice. So these are ways you can cut down on the salt you consume, because every single pinch of salt drives this condition. So if you can do without salt in your rice, in your swallow, in your yam, and all of that. The last, I think, on Instagram, she was preparing fried eggs with vegetables, and then she added a whole cube of Maggi, or let me say a seasoning cube. She added a whole cube of it in the eggs and vegetables, and then she added salt, and I was so shocked. I was like, is there a need for that? So it tells us what goes into some of the foods we get. Okay. So if you prepare your foods or your meals yourself, it'll go a long way to help you. And then you need to, as you are reducing sodium consumption, you need to increase the consumption of potassium, foods rich in potassium and magnesium. And I say that because potassium is like an enemy of sodium. The more potassium you consume, the less sodium will remain in your body. So potassium helps to get rid of sodium in the body, and that helps in maintaining our blood pressure. Magnesium is also like a relaxing nutrient. It helps the arteries through which the blood flow to relax. Usually when there is high blood pressure or there's high blood sugar, the arteries kind of become less flexible, and that makes blood flow difficult, increasing the pressure. But when you take foods rich in magnesium, like nuts, seeds, low fat milk and yogurt, you are going to help your arteries relax and blood flow is enhanced. And also we have some micronutrients that I think here I wanted to have macro. So macronutrients like fiber, protein, and healthy fats. So lean protein, skinless. So when you're preparing your chicken, you can get rid of the skin, because that's where the bad fat is. And also fishes that do not have fat, mushroom, and then healthy fats like avocados, olive oil, I mentioned, nuts and seeds. So nuts like ground nuts, cashew nuts, almond nuts, walnuts, tiger nuts, coconut. Yeah, so all those nuts. And then seeds like sesame seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds. Okay. And then also try as much as possible to reduce or limit the consumption of alcohol, added sugars, and caffeine. As for alcohol, previously, research evolves. Previously, we say that, oh, a little in a day is fine. But now, research has shown that even that little amount goes a long way to impact badly on our health. And so we should do away with it. And added sugars. Sugar is in almost everything we consume. So we do not have to take in extra sugar. So if you can do away with the white foods that have added sugars. In fact, the people who produce all of these, they spell it all out to us. You find it on the packaging, but a lot of times we do not consider it. Okay, so you need to be looking at the labelings and see what we are actually taking in. Okay. And then caffeine can also cause a rise in blood sugar, a temporary rise in blood sugar. Sorry, in blood pressure. Okay. So now, beyond the plate, beyond what we eat, we've looked at what we should eat and all of that. Beyond eating, what can we do to curb or manage our blood pressure. So we've talked about no smoking, no alcohol. And so I want to talk more about sleep. Okay, you should be getting enough sleep. When we sleep, the body uses that time to get rid of the stress that has been accumulated through the day's activities. And our bodies are not engines. Even engines break down, right? So our bodies need that time of rest to recuperate, and then we get back. But when we do not get enough sleep, there's a rise in stress hormone called cortisol. And when cortisol increases, the presence of cortisol increases and when cortisol increases, the presence of cortisol in the body to the blood pressure to go up to sleep. So if you go to bed around 9 and you wake up around 4 a.m., yes, you would have done 7 hours. If you go to bed around 10 p.m. You wake up at 5, you would have done 7 hours. So you calculate and see what time is best for you so that you can get sufficient sleep. And then managing stress. Accumulation of stress leads to a similar result in the body like lack of sleep. So when we accumulate stress over time, cortisol builds up again, and that leads to high blood pressure. You should also exercise regularly. What exercise does is that it helps to strengthen the heart muscle. Okay, it's not only your biceps that are strengthened when you exercise. Exercise strengthens every part of the body, every cell in the body. So the stronger your heart is, the more it can withstand the pressure that it is supposed to, push. Okay, so exercise is very important. And then staying hydrated is also key. When we are dehydrated, as I mentioned earlier, with the high blood sugar, when we are dehydrated, the blood becomes more viscous, it becomes thicker, and then it's very difficult to push the blood, and that causes high blood pressure. So these are some strategies we can, these are some things we need to do to drink our water. So keep a bottle of water on you always so that you can always refill and take water through the day. You need to take in at least 2 liters of water. A lot of us are taking less because we get so busy and we forget to drink water. But it is very important to ensure that we get enough water. And dehydration causes a lot of symptoms that you may feel like, oh, I'm sick. Sometimes you feel so tired. It's because you are dehydrated. Sometimes you are having headaches is because you are dehydrated. So anytime you feel any way, you take water first and see how you feel afterwards. Okay, so for people who want to live healthy, who want to maintain a healthy heart for the long term, what are some practical things you can do? When you are in traffic, avoid the processed foods that definitely have more salt, have more sugar, have more saturated fats. Avoid those ones. Go for the healthier options of food sold in traffic. Or better still, prepare yourself. When you're stepping out, get some tiger nuts or some roasted peanuts or some boiled groundnuts. Keep something on you, something intentional. Okay, on you, so that when you're in traffic for long hours and then you feel like snacking on something, you are going for something healthy. And when you're at lunch, when you go for lunch or you go for an occasion, go for more vegetables and reduce the portion of carbohydrates that you go for. So double your vegetables. And then use herbs like ginger, garlic. We have cinnamon. We have various herbs that enhance the flavors of our foods. And so this will help to enhance the taste. And then we don't have to use the artificial seasoning cubes that are driving this condition. Always keep a bottle of water, as I mentioned. And then when we are going for our O1 birth or the occasions and Saturday patterns, we should endeavor to take something healthy at home before we step out. Because when you step out and you are hungry, you're at a higher risk. There's a higher likelihood of you, I mean, indulging in the food, right? So when you go half full, you're able to reduce the consumption the amount of food you consume, and then read labels as well. It's very important. See and get to know what you are eating, and so that you can make better choices. When you read the labels, you compare. Okay, this one has high unsaturated fat, this one has lower saturated fat, then I'll go for this. And then I strongly believe that one can know all the right things to do, but if you do not prepare these meals, if you do not have these meals present in your home, it will be very difficult to eat healthy. And so I encourage that you make time to prepare your healthy meals in your home. Okay, so take your Sunday or Saturday evenings and prepare healthy meals in the home. And in light of preparing healthy meals, we need to shop healthy. Okay, if you don't have healthy stuff in your pantry or in your fridge, when you're hungry in the house, you go for the processed foods that you have. And I realize that when people are doing their monthly shopping, they step out and they go to the grocery store first, where they have all packaged food. They say they are going to buy provision. They get Milo, they get sugar, they get honey, they get all the packaged and processed foods. And then it's later that they go to the market and get some few vegetables. What I encourage is that when you want to shop, you shop your fruit and vegetables first. You shop your whole foods first. Shop naturally occurring foods. And after you have done this, all these important ones, then you can go in for the processed food. This will help you to reduce the amount of processed foods you consume. So this right here on your screen is a comprehensive shopping list that you can adopt or modify based on where you are listening from, so that it guides you on some healthy food options you can get. Okay. So in summary, we've said a lot, or we've all learned a lot, but I'm leaving you with a longevity blueprint, just some simple set of rules to help you stay healthy. And the first on the list is that you check your BP on a monthly basis. Now, we can't afford to wait for so long. Or if I may ask, how many of us have checked our blood pressure in the last 6 months? Well, okay. So it's important that we check. And then the 80-20 rule, it also applies in nutrition, it also applies in your healthy living. Okay, so if what you do most of the time is what matters. So if you eat vegetables 7 days, no, let's say 6 days in a week, and one day you decide to go for, say, bread and fried egg, that will not really impact on your health as compared to somebody who eats bread and fried egg every single day. Okay, so the 80-20 rule at time, and that will impact on your health better than when you do what's unhealthy all the time. And then the rule of halves. So WHO recommends that a healthy plate is um one that has half of it being vegetables. Okay, and from my experience working with people, I have come to see that vegetables are the game changers for most conditions. Vegetables are the game changers. When you are able to incorporate sorry, when you're able to incorporate vegetables in your meals consistently, you see a lot of difference, you see a lot of benefit. Okay, and then walk the talk. As I mentioned, we live in a fast-paced world. We don't have the time to commit to 45 minutes of exercise every day, but we make calls, we use our phone. So anytime you get a call, get up and take a walk. Okay, every step counts. Every step counts. You can target 10,000 steps. Sorry, you can target 10,000 steps a day, but if you can't get 10,000 steps and you can do 5,000, it also counts. Okay, and then hydration, keep your bottle. If you don't have your bottle, or if you don't have water by you will not drink it. So let your bottle be in view, let it be inside around you, so that you can always reach out for it and hydrate. And then sleep, manage stress efficiently. Anything that makes you feel lighter, anything that makes you feel warm, makes you happy, indulge in it, because life definitely not something that's going to impact on you badly, but try to manage it. It could be listening to music, listening to messages, reading a book, anything that is going to help you feel better. Please do to manage stress. And then lastly, I would encourage everyone to get a wellness partner, a wellness coach, or a group of healthy people. It's so difficult to stay on your health or your wellness journey alone when you are doing it alone. But when you have somebody who you agree, someone serious who you agree with, that okay, we want to do this, we want to go on this wellness journey together, you support one another. It may get tough, but you encourage one another and you stay on the journey till the end, and you see the benefits together. Definitely reward yourself as well. So a wellness support is very important. Okay, so here are some references I used in preparing this presentation. And as I bow out, I would like to leave us with this closing quote or thought by Heather Morgan. It says, every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding a disease or fighting it. Every time you eat or drink, you are either feeding a disease. This evening would be, what would you start eating to fight hypertension? Or what would you start drinking to feed your heart better? Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, team at YP-LEF, for the opportunity once more.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I do not know about you, our audience, but if you have learned one or two things I need to know, and I need to see it in the comment section. Please, this was so enlightening. Like, you have a very good voice, first of all, and then you carried us through it, teaching us explicitly, like they would say how you explain to a 5-year-old, and I am so happy that you are here. Yes, please, I need us to know. Someone is saying they are entering their vegetable. Let me speak like peace. Someone is entering their vegetable season, right? It's so amazing to have you. Thank you so much, Peace. This was duly educating, and it's time for question and answer right now. We have question and answer session right about now. It was amazing. Please, I want you to explain how you feel to our facilitator tonight, how she's carried us from the beginning of the session, eating for a healthy heart. She's done a good job explaining, particularly hypertension. So if you have questions, please leave them in the chat session or use raise of hands. We are going to answer your question. Yeah, someone is raising their hands up. I think you can stop sharing your screen now, PS, so that we can continue, yes, with this. I personally have so many questions, right? And I'm going to start with that before I allow the others who have raised up their hands to do that. You can keep leaving your questions in the comment section. First of all, please, when you talked about hypertension and linked it to the African ancestry of, we are being more prone or having more risk factor in having hypertension. Now, if you look around or if you ask the average, let me bring it down to Nigeria, and then someone goes for a reading and see how that their systolic and diastolic, their reading, their blood pressure reading is quite high. The first thing they ask is, what are you thinking about? And did see the risk factors that you mentioned, but to the average person, it is that they are thinking so much. Yes, you did explain and mention anxiety and all, but just to be clear for our present audience and those who would join and watch in future, is thinking a major factor, a risk factor in hypertension? You're muted, please. You can answer that now.
Hi, Chika. Kindly come again with the last part. I missed the very important part. Sorry.
Okay,
I
okay,
want to
just
hear your
simple.
question again.
Yes, it's in simple. Is thinking or having lots of thoughts in quotes a risk factor in hypertension?
Yes, it is. I would say yes, because the body is largely controlled by hormones, and the way we feel is also related to the hormonal balances, right? So yes,
Okay, so in
there's a
okay,
link. There's a link between being worried and stressed. Please go
okay,
ahead.
all right. So just for clarity purpose now, it is not wrong to say that people who have a high reading in their blood pressure, aside from other factors like the increase in sodium intake and other lifestyle factors, that thinking could also affect. Now, I'm saying this because of some people in rural areas, and some underserved areas that perhaps they might have good food, they're not, exposed to eating processed meals like people in urban cities would, but obviously things are well, they are living below regular or normal life, and then they think a lot. So is it right to say that when they do have their blood readings high or blood pressure readings high, that their thoughts or thinking or ruminating also affects their blood pressure? Just for clarity's sake, yes or no?
Yes, that's why I emphasize that stress. So all these are ways that stress is exhibited. Thinking a lot, being worried, being anxious, or frightened about something that may happen or not. Yeah, so all of this, or if something is troubling you. So you see, I mentioned that whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel lighter or feel warm, anything that helps your hormone reduce the stress, the cortisol in your body will help reduce this condition.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Peace, for that. All right. We have Clement whose hand is raised up. You can unmute yourself and ask your question now.
All right. Thank you, please, for such great class on nutrition. I have a question. Now we have actually emphasized more on hypertension, which seems to be common. But there's something that I've noticed also, and we hardly talk about it. I don't know if you can make an input on it, which is hypotension, low blood pressure. Many a times we have recorded people slumping and dying, and it was all referred back to having low blood pressure. I want to know, are there feeding habits or factors that stimulates low blood pressure, or should we say that it's genetically influenced? Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, you can go on, Peace. Thank you for that question, Clement.
All right, thank you. That was a great question, very important one. I I would say that hypertension is more spoken about because it is more common. But yes, we have cases where people have low blood pressure. And yes, it is largely a genetic problem. Okay, it is largely something that people are unable to control it. Okay, but you can also manage that condition so that we do not let the pressure go way below. So those people are encouraged to take a little more salt, to do some other things. So what do I say? To watch their exercise, to watch their diet and all of that, so that they can also get closer to the normal range that is required. I hope this helps.
Okay, thank you very much, Peace. Perhaps we might have a sequel to this, and where we'll focus more on hypotension and see how that affects the average professional. Okay, there's another hand up. PIS, you can go on and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Please, I want to know how to take chia seeds in a measure that does not go overboard. That's one. Number two, do vegetarians have high blood pressure? Those that subscribe to taking plant-based foods, do they at any point fight high blood pressure? Thank you.
You're muted. Would that
Hello,
be the end?
sir. I missed your first question, but with the second one, so because of the plant-based pattern of eating for vegetarians, they are at a lower risk because most of these saturated fats and added salt. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Peace.
Yes, so I was saying that vegetarians are at a lower risk of this condition, but they must watch out for other factors. Usually there are many other factors that are at play. The fact that you are eating plant-based diet does not mean that if you continue to live a sedentary life or do not manage stress efficiently, you will be able to prevent this condition. So we need to look at all the factors that play so that we can truly manage this.
Sorry,
Okay.
Dr. Peace.
Please, your first question.
Yes, I was asking about chia seed, how it is taken. Then secondly, you did mention that they are good fats that contains monosaccharide, polysaccharide, and all of that. So if one sticks to veggies only, how do they get the measure of that good fat that is needed for the functioning of the body? Thank you.
All right, please. So yes, chia seeds. Please never take your chia seeds to dry. Chia seeds are like a sponge, okay? They kind of absorb water into themselves. So if you take them dry, they may get your throat very dry. So you take them by soaking in water or Greek yogurt, or so you have to mix it with something and allow it to sit for at least 15 minutes. Otherwise, you let it sit in the water or yogurt for overnight. Okay, so that way it fully absorbs the water and then it swells and forms that gelatinized solution. So that's the best way to have your chia seeds. So yes, the monounsaturated fats and the polyunsaturated fats, these are the good fats, the good guys. And yes, you can find some of them in plants. Okay, so vegetarians can find them in nuts, in seeds, in olive oil, canola oil. Okay, even palm oil has some unsaturated fat. So nuts like I mentioned, ground nuts, cashew nuts, almond nuts, walnuts, and then some seeds, flax seeds, the chia seeds I mentioned. Yes, and then okay, fatty fish is not for vegetarians. Yeah, so the nuts and seeds are good.
All right. Thank you very much for that piece. We have so many questions already I can see from the chat section. But before we take them, I want to remind you that this is YP-LEF. It's a bi-weekly session that happens, well, bi-weekly. And we have facilitators from across the world, as well as audiences from across the world. If you missed it, this is the second edition for the year, and we have so much lined up until December. You can always check us up on our social media platforms. And then this is also streamed, so you can go back to our YouTube channel to listen again because this is very important. My question, Piers, before we go to other questions in the chat session. Now, because of how foods come in from, say, the farmers down to the consumers, it goes through so many hands, right? They go through so many hands. And what most people or most households do is that they first of all wash with salt. I do that sometimes as well because of I think or we think that salt helps to wash away germs in quotes. And then I with this session now, we obviously know that the number one enemy is the increase in salt sodium. So how do we, or what's the other means of washing to our heart content, not just using water to wash things like vegetables, not only leafy vegetables, but other vegetables like cucumbers and carrots and the likes. So aside using that, or is it safe to just wash with water before, going on with eating or consuming our foods? What's your suggestion or advice on this?
All right, so it's a good thing to wash with salt water. And so after washing with salt water, you rinse off the salt with fresh water. Okay, because the salt role is critical to fight any contaminant that may be present. But the other alternative is the vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is also useful in your fruits and vegetables.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you for that. Yes, so we have questions here, and then I'll be reading them up. I'll take them two at a time. So you could answer that. It's supposed to be an hour session, but we'll just extend for clarity purpose. Someone is asking that we currently have the rise of cardiac arrests. Is it caused by hypertension? Truly, there has been an increase in cardiac arrest, especially in young people. So is this caused by hypertension? And someone is also asking that can overhydration impact hypertension? Can overhydration impact a hypertension? So you could answer both questions at the same time.
Yes, so with hydration, overhydration is not a good thing in the first place. Okay. Everything we do must be in moderation. Overhydration can actually kill, but it does not drive hypertension. Okay, it is dehydration that rather has a role to play in hypertension. Okay, and the second question, yes, cardiac arrest is actually related to hypertension. I mentioned that hypertension is the primary cause of many other heart diseases or diseases. So hypertension is like the foundation, and then it progresses and leads to these other complications that we see. So yes, there is a link between them.
Okay, awesome. All right. One other person is asking, just a moment. Okay. Someone is asking, for someone that does not get proper sleep at night, which fruit is advisable for such a person to take? Okay, I'll leave it to your capable hands to answer that. For someone that does not get proper sleep at night, which fruit is advisable?
That's an interesting question. So, does he want the fruits that will help him sleep better? Is that what he's asking for? Or fruit for general well-being? Anyways, um, there are some fruits. I mentioned magnesium, right? I mentioned that it is a relaxing nutrient. So magnesium helps people, or it helps us relax and puts us in that sleeping mode. So you find magnesium in bananas, you find magnesium in vegetables, okay, like our green leafy vegetables, any of them that you have. So if you take some bananas and peanuts for dinner, it may help you. But if it is quite serious that you're unable to sleep, I can advise that you consult your doctor and ask about magnesium silicate. It's a supplement that can help you sleep.
All right, thank you for that piece. Glad you mentioned magnesium because well, I've been reading online about magnesium, and it looks like most people are aware of magnesium as supplements to take. Should be the silicate type, but then some other people are saying that it makes them sleep too much and then give some kind of nightmares. But that's a side. I mean, you could answer that by the side. All right, everybody. Tonight's session is eating for a healthy heart, and our facilitator has taken us through so many nooks and cranny of how to eat for a healthy heart, depending on wherever you are. She's also given a schedule of how we can eat. And we're taking sessions now. This is the session for question and answer. And I see that we do not have more questions. But one last question, piece, in addition to what I have asked. When we talk about fats and all, in some households, we see people reusing the oil that they have used previously. And I know that you mentioned some good oils that we could use, like olive oil. But here in Nigeria, and I want to believe some other parts of Africa, I don't know about other continents, we tend to use more of granite oil slash vegetable oil. So how often should we reuse this oil? Perhaps we use it to fry plantains and then we're done, it chills. Then another day we use it to fry eggs or yam and all. So how often? Because I read recently that we're not supposed to reuse oil for after a number of times. So what's your take on this?
Yes, you're right. There is an issue with you reusing oils, right? Yes, vegetable oils are good, but reusing them means that we are reheating them, and then over time we have something that is called trans fats. Trans fats are formed, and these fats are also bad fats for the body. So you do not want to use your oil more than thrice or until it is brown. Okay, when once you use it for 3 times, I think that is fine. Um, Also, one strategy is instead of pouring a lot of oil in your pan to fry, why not use the oil in moderation where you use just a little so that you do shallow frying and then you can reserve more oil for the future. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so we're gonna take the last couple questions now. I'm gonna merge two in one from the one I have seen. Oh, okay. So we're gonna make it three now. Three questions. We're gonna merge it. We'll try to keep to time, but we can tell that this session is quite interesting and educating. And as said earlier, you can always go back to our YouTube channel to watch this session again or listen to the session on the go and all. So the first question is someone asked, is Ewa going good for the body? Yes, I might have missed, but Peace did spend some time here in Nigeria before she went back to her home country, but I'm sure Peace is aware or knows what ewagoing is. So Peace were asking, is ewagoing good for the body? Secondly, is granola and mostly, I hope I got that right, good for the body? And which is better, air fryer or microwave? So those are the three questions. There we are going question, the granola question, and which is better, air fryer or microwave?
All right. Evergreen is good. I mean, I love it. Yeah. So what we have to watch for is the oil, right? And I want to believe that oil is not oil that is reused. So when we are getting any food, say outside, let's try and do some little more research on how the people process or produce their foods. Okay, so that you go for like to the best of your knowledge, the people or foods that are properly processed. Okay, so if you know that one woman uses the oil over and over again before using it for the going, then you don't want to go for that. But on a normal day, beans with some oil, yeah, it's a good meal. Beans is rich in fiber and it has some protein. Yes, so it's good.
All right. Granola.
Then granola, granola has become quite popular, but I have an issue with it. Yeah, so I have an issue with it because it has good stuff, but the process. So they have nuts, which I mentioned are good. In granola, you have nuts and seeds, but they end up adding a lot of honey to sweeten it, and that is my issue. So if you are preparing your granola at home, that'll be very good. Okay, or you know that okay, this person who prepares this granola I'm buying doesn't use a lot of honey, because honey is high in calories, and already the nuts and seeds are also high in calories. So you can have granola, okay, but have it in very moderate portions. You can have 2 tablespoons a day max, and you have it with something that doesn't have so much calories as well. And then muesli is also similar to granola. Yeah, and so the same recommendation, 2 tablespoons. So you can have with your yogurt, your Greek yogurt, with your porridges or puddings. Those are the good things to accompany it with. So don't have a bowl of granola like you are pouring a whole, like 2 ladles of granola and that's your meal. No, I would not encourage microwave. I think it's how you use it. You cover your food because of your food to those radiations. So once you do that, you have recommendations. And with the air fryer, I have not heard of, honestly, I don't know anything that is wrong except for the fact that I know it is helping with reducing the amount of oils we consume, because you don't have to deep fry or fry your things at all in oil, and that is saving people a lot of oil consumption. So I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay, amazing session and an amazing night it has been. And please, before I let you go and face our audience, I just want to ask one more question. And audience, too, you can partake in this question that I'm going to ask in the chat room. Please, for the purpose, according to you, I want to know which is better, Ghana jollof rice or Nigerian jollof rice. That's what I want to find out.
Oh, Chika, you know me. I am for both. Oh, this one. Mm. I
Okay,
can't start this war this evening.
okay. Thank you so much for that space. That was on a light
Yeah,
mode. That was an icebreaker. Thank you so much, please. Okay, have
yeah.
an amazing session, everybody. Yes, you can keep
Okay,
on
for anyone who wants Ghana Jollof, I can make some for you. Yeah.
eating. It is a deal, Pierce. We'll take it on. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight's session. Eating for a Healthy Heart by our amazing facilitator, Peace Kunkwe, a registered nutritionist. Peace also runs a clinic, the Nutrition Clinic Ghana. So she's also available on LinkedIn. You can go reach out to her if you need more questions, and I'm definitely sure she would be of great service to you. Audience, you have been amazing. I mean, from the beginning to the end, you have stayed. We thank you, and we hope to see you again next session, which is on the 18th of February, which is in a fortnight. We do this fortnightly. So you can come again. The link remains the same. We're not changing. Our social media platforms remain the same as well. YP-LEF. You can always go back to our YouTube channel to listen to this session and previous sessions as well, because we'll bring you nothing but the best. So to end the night session, we're going to call on our grand patron to give us his closing remarks, as always. Sarah, Pastor Lula Dewi, can we have you now, sir?
Wonderful night we have had, ladies and gentlemen. Peace. We want to profusely thank you because, somehow I will find out later. The combinations of Shika and peace tonight is like listening to a very cool music, for relaxation. Thank you because you've given us knowledge. Thank you because you have shared. And I've gained tremendously tonight. In fact, listening with my wife now, I know there are a number of things we just have to change in this house because we want to eat healthily so as to enjoy our life. Once again, every one of us, let's go there and practice what we have learned. Spread this good news to others so that no one actually die of ignorance. Let's reduce this domain of ignorance. Let's have a full house always, every time. We apologize, maybe tell the people who say they couldn't join tonight because they tried to come in with either hot phone, this, no name. We do not like to admit people without identity. Anybody who wants to join us should have a good identity, and that is the reason why we did not allow them in. We want everybody to learn. Thank you once again. We love you all. God bless you all.
Thank you. God bless you. And before we go tonight, we'll just say a quick prayer. We thank you, God, for tonight's session. We thank you for how you've helped us. We thank you for our facilitators through whom you have used to teach us. Again, sometimes maybe we've learned before we forget. We ask, Father in heaven, that you give us a retentive memory and the ability to practice what we have heard in Jesus' name. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a blessed night rest, and we'll see you on the 18th of February. Au revoir. Good night.